Me trying to break the ice on a first date.
We had a piece of cheese and it was very good.
Me finding the one other man of my age who still refuses to use emojis in text messages. And this was me defending myself in an argument with my ex-wife after 2 bottles of wine.
It is what it is. Well, it is what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is.
Hello and welcome back to the show, folks. Today we're going to look at my top 3 very affordable powerhouse fragrances, a great genre, and I'm going to explain what it means in a moment, or I'll try to. Before we do that, please don't forget, my recommended USA-based fragrance sampling site is the Fragrance Decant Boutique. That's decantboutique.com. They have a huge array of designer and niche fragrances, and I have a code. The code MrSmelly10 gets you 10% off across their site. My recommended UK-based fragrance sampling site is Fragrance Samples UK, and that code MrSmelly10 also works on that website. A huge array of fragrances there. Both of those excellent places are linked in the description of this video, personally recommended by me. Okay, so powerhouse fragrances. I did a couple of videos that were popular about barbershop fragrances recently, and somebody said, why don't you do one on animalic powerhouses? These are not necessarily animalic, but some of them have animalic accords. And what is a powerhouse fragrance? Well, there is no category. You go on Fragrantica, there's Chypres, there's Oriental Woody, there's Woody Aromatic, there's Fougères, there's all these different things. It's not an official category, but if we look back to the 70s and the 80s, these to me are the kind of fragrances that were around, that were being released in an era when the conception of what masculinity was, or what one should aspire to be as a man, was slightly different. And maybe the smells that we had then reflect that to some extent. So I think these are really still relevant, whatever relevant means today. They can still smell good, and they're in contrast to some of the more sort of shower gel smelling things that we get now, or Ambrox and things with tonka and sweet things that the designer houses release now. Different kind of vibe. They could be green, they could be woody, they could be musky, they could have some gnarly smells like castoreum that comes from the nether regions of a beaver. If you go to a similar area of a civet cat, you get another smell. Who decided this stuff was going to be good to put in fragrances? We may never know, and perhaps that's for the best. Let's go for it. So these are also affordable ones today, so you can spend a lot of money on some of the ones out there, particularly niche fragrances where they've kind of paid tribute to the fragrances of the 80s, but these are all going to be very affordable. By the way, though, you may want to check out the closest thing we have to a powerhouse. It's kind of a powerhouse for the 21st century at Norton Wilson is Chypres Fulminare, an amazing fragrance it's got this kind of spicy, very subtly smoky thing in there, and also a wonderful incense accord. Really complex perfumery from our great perfumer John Stephen. Currently available to buy in the UK. We are restocking in North America very soon, and don't forget our 5th release. I'm tempted to tell you the name. It's in here. Amazing packaging. This is coming out in late 2024. Stay tuned. Oh, and Gravitas Prom. Still, if you're in the UK, only £70. Don't miss out. We are going to stop that offer very soon. Okay, number 1 then. Affordable powerhouse fragrances. Enrico Coveri Porom. So Porom from the little known to me house of Enrico Coveri, an Italian house, in 1984 release, and it's defined as a woody aromatic, whatever that means, on Fragrantica. Your note listing, hang on to your hats, there's a lot of them. Lavender, tarragon, clary sage, nutmeg flower, bergamot, geranium, patchouli, sandalwood, Brazilian rosewood, my favourite kind of rosewood, German rosewood, forget it, cedar, oak moss, leather, amber, musk, tonka bean. 100ml can be had online in the UK for just £25. I think I saw that on eBay, but it was sort of a new one on eBay from someone. I think that's where I got mine. Okay, so this one, really interesting. It's spicy and peppery. It's complex. I'm actually wearing it today. The dry down's really nice. People have sort of compared it a little bit to things like Chanel's Antaeus. People have compared it to all the other great powerhouse fragrances of the 80s. Some of the ones I'm going to mention later in this video. There are similarities, but it's got its own unique characteristics. So this one, I find it to be woody, spicy, and has this kind of leathery undertone to it, to a subtle kind of leather, maybe coming from a castoreum accord from the beaver's butt. They use that to smell like leather. Don't ask me how. Anyway, it's masculine. It's classy. Is it a huge performer? Actually, no. So maybe if it's a powerhouse, it should be. But to me, it has that powerhouse ethos, the idea of the masculine man, the man who is confident in being masculine and being manly, and it conveys that atmosphere very well in the fragrance. So really, really interesting one. Great price. It's not sort of soapy and citrusy like some of them can be, as well as having some of these other more rugged notes, but it's a refined kind of masculine and rugged but refined at the same time. Really, really nice. And if you want to try, probably going to have, it's hard to find this to sample anywhere. Take a chance for 20 odd pounds. I think it's really, really interesting. I wasn't sure if I liked it at first. Actually, having worn it a couple of times, worn it a couple of times this week, I'm warming to it a great deal, and it's really nice for the price. Next up, haven't mentioned this for ages. Criminally, it's Zeno, Davidoff Zeno. This is their Eau de Toilette. I think their original masculine release, correct me if I'm wrong, 1986 release. I found it on Nortino in the UK. I'm not sponsored. £18. Are you mad, bruv? Michel Almarac was the perfumer. Brazilian rosewood again. Lavender, clary sage, bergamot, rose, geranium, jasmine, lily of the valley, patchouli, sandalwood, vanilla, cedar. That doesn't tell you everything. For me, standout notes on this one is a combination of patchouli and sandalwood, and it really is delightful. Again, it doesn't have anything citrusy or green or sharp. Nothing green or sharp in this one, but it has this very smooth, manly, attractive, alluring, reassuring, masculine kind of aura. I've sprayed some in the lid here. And definitely, I think it's that combination of patchouli, sandalwood, and a subtle hint of vanilla in there, which is really, really nice. Some people actually said they got hints of this fragrance in our own Gravitas Pour Homme, which we never sort of thought of this one as anything that was influencing us in conceiving Gravitas. But I can actually see where they're coming from, and Gravitas was in some ways an homage to the great fragrances of the 70s and 80s. So this 86 release, amazingly affordably available, and it really is nice, and it might be one of the more easy to like ones with that vanillic undertone there, which of course can be appealing, sweet. Everyone likes vanilla, right? I mean, who doesn't like vanilla ice cream? Only very strange people. Okay, last but not least, we have an oriental woody fragrance. Can I say that anymore? Of course I can. It's one-man show from the legendary house of Jacques Bogart. Roger Pellegrino, the perfumer, £14 for 100ml, 1980 release. And again, it was one it's been in my collection a while, and I've come back to it today. You know what it is? I get it. I'm now beginning to get why someone might really like this. So this one has, again, a long note listing. Bear with me. Bergamot, basil, artemisia, galbanum, caraway, Brazilian rosewood, again, the only type of rosewood, pine tree needles, carnation, patchouli, nutmeg, spices, vetiver, geranium, labdanum, rose, jasmine, oak moss, leather, cedar, sandalwood, styrax, castoreum, amber, tonka bean, and vanilla. So this one can be challenging. It's definitely old-fashioned. It's a little bit musky. Again, no green or sharp or really noticeable citrus accords there. You only get a hint of bergamot. It is piney and it's mossy, I think. Piney, but how can you be piney without being green? I suppose there is something green, but it's not a sharp greenness. It's a piney, mossy, and somewhat musky, a little bit gnarly, but sort of clean and dirty at the same time, in the same way that things like Koros are. The most challenging of the three for me. Rather strong, I think. And I think once it dries down and you're wearing it on your skin or on your clothes, rather charming, rather reassuring, rather masculine. And a great one to have in the collection for the perfume collector, for this rather ridiculously old-fashioned, in a great way, 80s style bottle. So one-man show. Nice stuff. Probably my favourite of the bunch at the moment would have to be Zeno Davidoff. Maybe they're like the most highly regarded of the three. All great fragrances, £25 for most you can pay, going right down to 14. Let me know what you thought of that. Please subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Join the channel if you'd like an extra exclusive video every week, or you can join me on Patreon, Mr. Smelly 1977, to see the same video. I will see you in the next one. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project, and although sometimes life can stink, at least we can always smell good, right? Bye-bye.